So, good morning, everyone. Also, warm welcome from my side. We had some technical problems, but we managed to get them fixed just in time. I have the pleasure to introduce you to Robert von Wülfing, CEO of Amadeus Fire. He will guide you through the presentation and share deeper insight into the company's recent business development. And as always, just a quick housekeeping note. The conference is being recorded and all participants are in listen-only mode. After the presentation, we will move on to a Q&A session. And if you have any question, please submit them via the chat box on the bottom right. Without spending too much time, I'm handing over to you, Robert. The floor is yours.
Great, thank you. Thanks very much. Sorry for letting you wait for, 1 minute. I hope this is acceptable. So welcome everybody to this little Amadeus Fire presentation. What I learned is that probably most of you are not that familiar with our company, so I try to focus now more on the story in our strategy overall. In the end, I will touch the current results, which in this environment we are in Germany are actually quite disappointing this year. And we can discuss that maybe more in depth also in the Q&A session. So Amadeus Fire is a specialist service provider focusing purely on Germany. So what are we doing? We are actually in the personal services or staffing segment on the one hand side, and on the other hand side in the training segment, qualifying professionals. These two segments are all around certain qualifications, and this is in the administrative or commercial field plus IT. So typically Amadeus Fire, with both its services operating in classic corporate headquarter functions, and it's all about qualifications like accounting, controlling tax, or HR, purchasing, and all the different IT roles, less in the development segment, but more in IT administration and infrastructure area. So this is basically what Amadeus Fire is doing in a regional network with a lot of offices spread all over Germany. And here we are locally in the areas where you typically find strong economic centers and accordingly a lot of corporate headquarters where we do our business with. In the staffing, it is the brand well-known Amadeus Fire, and in training, it's a multi-brand approach where we have different operating units in different training markets. I will touch that later. Business spread is, over the last years, the training segment developed stronger and stronger with some inorganic or acquisitional growth in 19 and 2020. So currently, first half year, looking at our revenue split, around 60% or around 2/3 of our business is in staffing and 1/3 or currently 41% in training. In staffing, you would see here that we offer 3 different services, which is temporary staffing, or in German Zeitarbeit, permanent placement, Personalvermittlung, and interim and project management. This is the split. In what is the most relevant one here in staffing, the most, or the best view on our services is to look at the gross profit. So this is revenues and deducted the direct cost of services, which in temporary staffing is the salary of the temporary employees. You will realize that permanent placement in the meantime is the most relevant service in staffing we have as Amadeus Fire, followed by temporary staffing, and a smaller part of ours is interim project management, which is business via freelance specialists as a temporary service. What is driving our business? I think this view is quite important to understand what and why we are focusing on that specific niche and setup here in Germany. So overall, we are in both segments. We are in a quite competitive environment in a strictly regulated market here in Germany, in training and in staffing. And what you have in Germany, and that increased over the last, well, I would say 1.5 to 2 decades, is a limited human resource, or to say in different words, limited qualifications throughout the German workforce. And this became more and more a critical success factor over the last years in Germany. A further shortage of qualifications is to be expected. If you have a look at the demographic development, we are currently entering the decade of the baby boomers leaving the market, a net decrease of the overall workforce of 1% per year the next 10 years, so quite important. And that will lead to an even more severe situation regarding resources in the German labor market. And the qualification mix needed is also changing, and we are sure that this will accelerate over the next years. In terms of the technological change we are currently facing, that means that companies need more and more different setup in the qualification mix they have throughout their employees. In terms of the labor market regarding the unemployed people, to qualify these unemployed funded by the state to reskill or upskill this workforce to be reintegrated in the labor market is one of the most important instruments of the employment agency. And this, is a training market we are operating in heavily. So overall, the willingness of corporations or all stakeholders in the labor market to invest in recruitment, in qualification, and also in retention of personnel is high. Even in the situation we are currently in, but given the long-lasting recession we are in, on a much lower level than we saw that over the last years. But from our point of view, mid and long term, something which will come back. High market entry barriers overall is following also the strictly regulated and high competitive market we are in. And this market drivers for Amadeus Fire means we are with a unique portfolio quite well positioned in this environment, having staffing and training under one roof, which is quite unique and which delivers additional value to our customers. It's in terms of market perceptions, we are excellently positioned in both segments, and candidates and clients, we can offer services along the value chain. First qualify, then employ people, or qualify employed people. This is something which the setup of Amadeus Fire leads to. We do have market leadership in finance and accounting in both segments, staffing and training. This is the nucleus basically of Amadeus Fire. And this is where the fire actually derives from, which historically is FIRE with a capital R, which means Finanz- und Rechnungswesen or finance and accounting in German. So it's a long history of success in that specific segment of qualifications. We do have and focus on best trained and compensated employees throughout our organization. And once we are in contact, we focus on a high retention of our temporary staff, but also of candidates or students we are working with. Strategically, this delivers in the end an environment of reputation and speed, and this in the end delivers excellence in our marketplace we are in. So, well, especially in staffing, what you need is a very fast reaction first, but also the best and accessible candidates. And if you are able to deliver that, reputation follows. If you want to cross-check that, for example, on Kununu, you will see how Amadeus Fire actually is ranked best in industry in Germany. We are professional partner for life, so we accompany professionals along their whole life cycle as candidates, as clients, or as participants in our courses. And overall, our strategy here clearly is on a steady expansion path, focusing on organic growth on the one hand side, but on the other hand side also acquisitional growth in training. In the end, delivering high margins, and we would like to benchmark ourselves here throughout the industry that for many years we are at the top end here of the market. One remark additionally on staffing, it's kind of a spot business we are in, meaning we do serve a lot of clients, thousands of every year. So we don't have a single dependency on a single customer or a single sector. Here you see our shares of our revenues throughout all sectors, and the top 10 customers last year accounted for around 5% of revenues. So very fragmented and many thousand of paying customers every year. In training, one additional remark, looking at our business, we have to point out that we are operating in 3 different markets. The public funded market, which is the largest part of our business, meaning to train unemployed, B2B business, which is the most relevant future focus area we are in, and B2C classes where we, for example, prepare tax advisors or certified accountants for their public exams, preparing them over months or over years, and having the market leadership here. What I already mentioned, there's little metrics where our brands operate in terms of qualification, left-hand side and on the top, different markets. In B2B markets, this is where also in terms of inorganic growth, for the next quarters or years, we are focusing on most to round up the portfolio we can offer our corporate clients, training and staffing and building up a platform and an ecosystem in the marketplace here. Some more remarks on our long-term development as a corporation. You see here the revenue development over, more than 15 years. So a stable growth path, under pressure now. I will touch that later. But for many years, we were able to step by step develop our group up to a level of more than 400 million revenues and delivering double-digit results every year, except 2025, where we will not achieve that level. But the incremental potential we see also mid and long term back at these levels. You can see here that we are able, as a focused niche player in the very well profitable markets of specialized staffing and specialized training. You see that high levels of results we were operating in for many years. And this is converting in Amadeus Fire case in high cash flows. We are, well, classic asset light as a service company. So every year was actually delivering a high level of free cash, except all the investments we do in technology, in our systems, in our operations. It is still, compared to revenues in terms of CapEx, at a low level. One other remark, historically, our dividend policy always was a share of earnings per share as dividend. Historically, we saw a 100% payout ratio that changed in 19, 20, and 21. First COVID, then a 50% payout policy, and currently it was 67%, or 2/3 of our earnings per shares we distributed to our shareholders. Actually, it states here 2024 expected. It's not expected. It's paid out in May already. Just seeing that. But let me also touch on the current development of our group. We are in all markets. We are operating here well in high waters and stormy weathers. So the overall economy leads to a very well careful and depressed situation throughout our corporate clients, leading to a lower conversion rate of the assignments we receive in actual placements. And in training, we are in a situation that we don't have a public budget currently, and some administrative changes on top, where responsibility in Germany moved from employment agents, from job centers to employment agencies, to issue training vouchers, which is the base of our B2G business. So in both segments currently, well, the most difficult environment we saw for, well, the last 15 or 20 years, which currently leads us to a lower expectation of our outlook. You can see here that in revenue, we expect to decrease this year by 15%, and that we will not be able to compensate that on the earnings level, but to decrease to a level of around 5% operating EBITDA, compared to the double-digit figures we saw the last years. And also till today, we do not see a change in the underlying environment with our clients. So 2025 actually will be a tough year. We see some improvements in the funded training, that processes are re-established and start to work. And also the public budget hopefully will be done, well, in September, October, already with the 2026 budget. So we see a normalization here of the top line market. Nevertheless, this year, challenging environment, leading to earnings expectation, what we published of in the corridor of 15 to 25 million EBITDA. Well, let's say a new starting base to then grow the business back again next year. When staffing market will pick up. From today's perspective, it's a little bit of a crystal ball. We don't see a change, but we need a different corporate behavior in terms of investing in their future and back again investing in their human resources and qualifications to gain back ground in these markets the next years. We see this change coming. The only thing is we don't know when this will be the case. This outlook is assuming that it will not be this year. So this is the introduction. And now I'm happy to answer your questions.
Thank you, Robert. We have a couple of more minutes for the Q&A, and we have received quite a lot of questions so far. I will guide you through the questions. And the first one, which sector is the largest sector, personal service training in sense of earnings? And taking a look on training, how much in percent is coming from the private sector and how much comes from the government education programs?
If I understood that right, no sector is more profitable than the other. What I said is we are serving headquarters, and here we are serving certain qualifications. For us, if we place an IFRS accountant, it does not really matter in terms of pricing, whether we place them in automotive or in infrastructure. So the sector split is what you saw already on slide. Let me click on that slide. So this gives you an idea how we are spread all over the sectors. But for us, actually, the underlying business is not that relevant as we are in a client relationship with a headquarter and the headquarter functions. First, second, public and private sector. In staffing, it's just another sector, and it's a minor part compared to the private sector we are operating in. And in training is what I saw, what you see here. It is three quarters of our business is in the public segment, and the rest is private.
Perfect. Thank you. We have one question, which is more like a strategic one. How does AI influence your business model? Are there opportunities or threat? And there's another question also covering that one, which is related to that and might also give us some hint about your answer. US group Workday just announced they buy Paradox AI right after they acquired Flowwise AI, adding 2 AI-driven companies they bought in 2024. Klaus asked, admittedly, this is the US and not Europe, but how do you look at these developments also for your business?
AI is of high relevance, and for me, it's much more an opportunity than a threat. Nevertheless, if you have an opportunity, it's always a threat if you are not able to use that opportunity. Others will do so. This is the first part of the answer. Second, in staffing, there are some operating models, including technology trying to take out the human factor. Here, for us, it's of high importance to integrate it in our processes and in our way to deliver our excellence on the one hand side. On the other hand side, we feel that the process to find qualified personnel has to be accompanied, the whole process, the client has to be accompanied by also humans leading the whole process from discussing the job spec till placement. This is hard to be run through all by AI. nevertheless, in between, like matching processes, etc., here technology is of high importance, and we are investing in, and we are in the middle of that game. In training, for me, it's even more important. It's about business excellence processes, etc. What I just described. In service businesses, you always have to monitor that very, very carefully. But the training itself is changing a lot. Like 5 or 10 years ago, in classroom training was the normal situation. Now it's already virtualized, but still the use of technology and the didactic concepts behind are not fully integrating technology and the opportunities you have. So our picture is that you can focus much more by using technology on the individual success of your training. Individual success meaning the single student or participant in the training. And here you will not achieve a very high level of success without using technology. So here we are also investing, and we are in the middle of. So it's important for us and for the sectors. And I do think that, the smaller you are, and these are two very fragmented markets we are operating in here in Germany, the smaller you are, the more challenging is it to integrate technology in your business model and to ramp up your business model by using technology. So, very interesting for us. Hope this answers the question.
That was a very good and compelling answer. Thank you very much. There is another question with regards to just a general outlook on your M&A pipeline. Can you give us some color on this pipeline? Potential new segments, regions, products. Obviously, we were talking about AI, so everyone is probably expecting something in this area, but maybe you can give us some more.
Well, our main focus area, as I said, is training, and here it's the B2B market. We are quite active. In the end, it needs two for a kiss. So we will see what we can announce the upcoming quarters. But this is the main focus area.
Okay, thanks. There's one follow-up question in terms of the discussion about AI. Florian is asking, but won't the use of AI reduce customer demand for administrative and IT jobs in general?
It will change the qualification mix needed by every corporation. Fully agree. Will specialists disappear fully? I disagree. I do think that we are already in a situation of high scarcity. But in every role, there will certain tasks disappear and will be replaced by technology, and corporations will have to focus on replacing that with more value-driving activities. So, yeah, some parts will be taken out by technology. Other skills will be highly requested, which are not that available currently in the market. Two examples, 15 years ago, nobody knew what a SEO specialist or SEO specialist was. Now it is hundreds of thousands of jobs. And on the other hand side, 15 years ago, everybody already said that there's no need for accountants anymore. And we have 2% more every year since 15 years. So yes, there will be a change, but I don't see that it will be, a dramatic decrease in specialist resources you need as corporations.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Looking at the time, we unfortunately run out of time. Robert, thank you very much for your presentation. We're excited to see what's happening next with Amadeus Fire. For all participants, there is a link to the next meeting, which is Medios. Again, thank you, Robert, for this presentation. If you just want to stay tuned for a second, and everyone else have a great conference going forward.
Thanks. Bye.